much. We know more tonight about why the Secret Service opened fire Monday near the Washington Monument. Officials say a 45-year-old man from Texas tried to cross the street, as seen in these newly released surveillance photos, right as the motorcade for Vice President J.D. Vance was about to come through. When officers tried to stop him, they say he pulled the gun and fired, wounding a bystander. Officers fired back, wounding the suspect, and on the way to the hospital, he allegedly said, quote, F the White House, and repeatedly told officers to kill him.
So we have yet another report here of some nut trying to target our president and presumably vice president. Was he motivated by the leftist media or the hateful rhetoric of the Democrat Party?
Tonight, another security scare just blocks from the White House, and minutes after Vice President Vance's motorcade had passed through.
Battalion 6 response for the shooting on 15th Street and Madison Drive Northwest.
U.S. Secret Service investigating an officer-involved shooting near the Washington Monument and the National Mall. It began around 3:30 this afternoon.
Our plainclothes officers and agents that consistently patrol the outer perimeter of the White House complex identified a suspicious individual that appeared to have a firearm.
Uniformed Secret Service then confronting the individual.
Upon making contact, that individual fled briefly on foot, withdrew a firearm, and fired in the direction of our agents and officers. They returned fire and engaged. That individual was hit.
A bystander was also hit and injured. This video showing the vice president's motorcade a short time before, and you can hear what could be the gunfire on our White House camera. As agents with long guns rushed people inside. President Trump speaking in the East Room, making no mention of the incident, which comes just 9 days after a gunman ran through a security checkpoint, allegedly trying to assassinate the president at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. The Secret Service on this afternoon's shooting.
Whether or not it was directed to the president or not, I don't know, but we will find out.
So yeah, this Michael Marks here, this middle-aged man from Texas, looks like a real winner in my book, right? Well, he somehow got up there close enough to the White House to where maybe he thought he could just attempt to go in there and do some damage. But, as his reports were saying, it looks like he was blocks from the White House, and he was approached because he looked suspicious. I can't see why. Anyway, the Secret Service engaged him, and he shot at them, and they exchanged fire, and a teenager was hit. Fortunately, that person is expected to recover. They were rushed off to the hospital, and this guy, like I said, was shot several times, and he survived. But what were his motivations? Well, wait till you check this out.
U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro said prosecutors intend to pursue the case aggressively. Marks faces 3 federal charges: assaulting a federal officer with a dangerous weapon, using and discharging a firearm during a crime of violence, and unlawful possession of a firearm by a convicted felon.
So right, this guy's a convicted felon, and he's got a gun, which means criminals don't care about the law, duh. But what's going on here is he's quote saying F the White House, F the White House. He also was saying kill me, kill me, kill me. Apparently he was wanting to die and get killed. Maybe he didn't want to face incarceration, or who knows, but obviously he's unhinged. They're going to be looking into it. Judge Jeanine Pirro said she's looking into it. They're going to find some more information out. Obviously, I wouldn't be surprised if they also found a manifesto or some kind of intensive internet search about White House security, what guns they used, et cetera, et cetera. These people always leave breadcrumbs. They always leave a trail. And he probably got ingrained in his head that Trump and Vance and the whole administration at the White House is the enemy, if not him thinking that the government is the enemy already. You have a lot of these people these sovereign citizen kind of people. He might be one of them. We don't know for sure, but we do know he was intending to do something nefarious and terrible, and he got stopped, and that's a good thing. But here's the thing. The rhetoric isn't just against President Trump. It's also against J.D. Vance. This article here is saying that U.S. Democratic Representative Ro Khanna of California was among the first Democrats to begin focusing on Vance last year, 2025. And he stopped at the City Club of Cleveland at Yale University, where he and Vance had studied law together, and he gave speeches that attempted to cast Vice President Vance as more extreme than Trump. And keep in mind, Trump's been called Hitler, King, all that stuff, right? So Trump's pretty much equated with the most vile man to ever exist. And now JD Vance, by his association, is right up there with him, apparently. And I'm sorry, which party has sent jobs overseas and is increasing taxes on the American people, as opposed to the party that's trying to make more things America made and bring in jobs from overseas back into America, as well as making laws like no tax on tips and no tax on overtime? I think the evidence stands for itself, but what do you guys think? Please let me know in the comments below.